The dipper boiler. Uh, the dipper boiler is a a kitchen utensil that you put on a stove. It's basically two pots, one on top of the other, basically with hot water in between it, where you can put lots of different types of food in. Now, basically how it works, as you can see now, is that you have the big pot on the bottom of it, with the water which is boiling and turning into steam. I'll get more on that in a little while. But first of all, you have your flames in the bottom, say your stovetop or whatever. Below and then above, as I said, two pots. So you have a big pot of water in it, a pot below that with more water, a big pot with water, which then condenses into steam and heats it, which the water comes up to a rolling boil on it. So you would have your stove, and you have a small pot basically on top of it, where your food that's not touching the water, but it almost is. Usually sometimes has a small like thin grate in it. So that would to keep it. Some of them do. So then steam can come up and steams it like a steamer, but it doesn't always. But most of them aren't like that. So you have to keep it warm. You have to cook food in it, but not, you don't want to, but you can cook food, but slowly cook it or quickly cook it. And you're able to, even to turn off the heat source, it will, because the hot water is boiling and it's still hot, then the heat goes up, and then heat goes up and keeps the food warm for quite a long time, depending on how much water you put in it and such. Another interesting thing about that, you can also put some salt in with the water, like about a teaspoon of salt into the water, so it keeps the boiling down. So that way you can have a bit more water, so it then keeps it warmer longer, because it's the water. Keeps it warmer longer. Yeah. So now, you're probably wondering what types of food. Okay, I've learned about how it works and all, but how does it actually? What kind of foods can you actually cook in it? Well, I'm gonna tell you. So there's lots of different foods you can cook it in it. Say most common uses like for at a Thanksgiving. At like a potluck or something like that, where you have to bring food and you don't want to want to keep it warm, but you don't want the food to be keep cooking because it's too hot. No. So that's what the boiler is good for. You have to heat, say like your food, just keep food warm for, just at a small can or something below it, just to keep the water just at a light warm enough so that you can boil and keep your pan warm, keep your food warm but not too warm. So you can melt chocolate for making fondue, or you could also basically you can cook any food in it that is not odd, that doesn't have to be, that's raw. You can cook raw food, but like meat and stuff, but usually you would cook anything pre-cooked instead, like pre-cooked burgers, pre-cooked bacon, pre-cooked food. You can even pre-cook or just like soften up say fruit or some of that in it. And now on to, okay, you know about all these food and stuff, and you know how to use it. But now you're probably wondering, okay, well, who invented this awesome idea and other interesting facts? Well, that's what you're gonna hear, and that's what you're about to hear in the next part. So keep watching. And now for the interesting facts, where you're gonna learn some, maybe already know some things about it, the double boiler, but there's a lot more, and you might learn some new things. So hold on tight. Here we go. So, for starters, the double boiler was created by is 2 pans, as you know. Used to be, and you can also, as you know, you're able to cook lots of pre-cooked food, as you know, probably already know. But what you can also do with it, but you're probably wondering where did it end? But there's a lot more uses, practical uses for, say, like if you're at a scout camp or something, at a camp or camping or something like that, and you want to keep your food warm, or slowly cooking, you don't, like, say you're tenting or something, you don't want to you have a stove or something like that, but you want to cook it slowly but not too slow, and if, and say you don't have power, you can use that. Works out really well. Okay, now, well, that's interesting, I'm guessing. Probably finding out. So, next part of this is who invented, you're probably wondering. You're probably going, well, I wonder who invented this awesome thing called double boiler. Well, I'm gonna tell you. A person named in France, years way back in the around the medieval period or sometime like that, or the river, sometime during they think sometime during the start of the revolution, but not sure. It's not quite sure. But we do know when the person who created it, a person named a man named give me a sec. Hold on here. Person named Marie in French. He was having trouble. He had a comment from a person. His mistress had kept having a problem at his place because he invented quite a few things, but mistress kept complaining about how, because he always wanted his food on time, food ready, but he didn't like his food overcooked or anything. So, and she kept complaining because he always, didn't come and eat his food right away. So, maybe half an hour or so later. So, his mistress brought it up to him, and he decided to, and he took in consideration, thought for quite a while, and then one time when he was actually having a bath, when he was actually figuring out not having a bath, but the thing is trying to create a new idea of how to make a bath, a self-heated bath, which never ended up working out for him. It just his idea didn't work out and never came to be for that. But when he was creating, he thought of an idea to have water boiling under it. But then you would have to keep it all warm, bath warm, and then keep the water warm, aka the food. So when he thought of that, he thought back to the idea about the food, and then decided to instead do it for the bath, use it for food, and it worked out to be a very good item. People used it, and he created, and a lot of people were happy and used it because you could have food kept warm and stuff like that in there. So that's interesting. And now for one last interesting fact. One last interesting fact is that the double boiler came from this name, a land name. The double boiler came from a land name. Bear with me while I try to say this. Land name. Well, back to this now. Well, then land name was actually Bariamar. Sorry about that. Bariamar, which is actually rough translation in English is double. which like the deboilers, because the deboiler has two pots in one, but for one use for food, keeping food warm. So that's my last interesting fact. Hope you learned a lot about the deboiler, and hope you learned something new. This is Cole signing off.